What's going on, everyone? I'm Chris Baker.
And I'm Ty Backer.
Welcome to episode 143 of Behind the Toolbelt with TC Backer Construction.
TC Backer. Roofing, siding, windows, gutters, solar. Roofing, siding, windows, gutters, solar. TC Backer.
Behind the Toolbelt is sponsored by Lead Scout. Find out more at leadscoutapp.com.
TC Backer.
We are live.
Family, what is going on? We are here for episode 143. We got Tyrus Backer zooming in from I'm not sure where right now, and we got Mr. Ken Younce in here from his gym.
Live from his gym. God, I'm so glad we went back to the old jingle. And if Eric O is out there listening, that was for you, buddy.
Yes. You got to keep the jingle, man. Everyone knows the jingle.
Yes.
Everyone knows the jingle, man.
And if you haven't known or heard the jingle now, when you go to sleep tonight, you'll be singing TC Backer. Backer. Hopefully, you'll be singing that tonight. Maybe not.
Trust us, it
Maybe
works.
not. But we got to
do it, man.
Yeah.
How are you guys? Go ahead, man.
Doing great, guys. Appreciate y'all having me, man. It's a huge honor to be on here. I know y'all have some real studs in the industry, man. I enjoy watching the show.
Awesome, man.
Well, you're definitely one of those studs in there, and I'm coming from what is it, North Shore, Myrtle Beach, this week. Came in I think Monday morning. I'm heading back out Saturday morning. Had a great day today. Had lunch with Martin Pettigrew from Monarch Roofing. Great dude. Actually gave me his book. I started reading it today. Here, let me pull this out. Give him a big plug today. Roofing Machine. Got this from him today.
Awesome, man.
Yeah, man. I started reading it today, man. It's a great book, man. There's a lot of good stuff in there, man. It was an honor meeting him, and he's like a $42 million company and has 3 separate locations down here: Hilton Head, Myrtle Beach, and Wilmington. And Gene, just a what do they call it? A serial entrepreneur. Like the dude owns like 10 freaking businesses and just great people to network with. You know what I mean? Right. It's I'm not so small-minded anymore and put the ego down and be able to network with other roofing contractors because I don't know everything. You know what I mean? Right. And Hunter actually came in town for a few hours, had lunch with him and another dude, one of his buddies from up home. And it was just a great day. Been a great experience. Been a long ass week. Last week I was in Denver and then went to Florida on Friday. My days are all screwed up, man. I've been on either in an airplane or in a different state or city for the past couple of weeks here, doing some podcasts and networking with some great people and listening to some great speakers and stuff. But that's not why we're here tonight.
Yeah,
we were here to talk about the man, the myth, the legend. I'm hearing some feedback. I'm not sure if you guys can hear that or not.
Yeah, I can hear it. Does someone have their audio turned up loud?
Not sure.
Could it be me?
Yeah, possibly. I'm not sure.
Maybe. I'm turning mine down a little bit.
I'm talking.
It might have been me.
But yeah, man, Ken, you're a football guy, man. You're looking pretty good, man, in that gym. You're looking pretty good.
Yeah.
And we're gonna quote Primetime. When you look good, you feel good. When you feel good, you play good. And when you play good, what happens?
You win.
Well, they pay good.
Yeah.
No, I like you win.
I mean, I like that too. That usually comes along.
That's the end goal for all of it, right?
Right. Absolutely, man. And you know, just watching you from a distance and everything, I mean, that seems to be what's kind of followed your career, man. You've seemed like you've been successful in a lot of different avenues. I mean, it seems like you've kind of dipped yourself into a lot of different facets of not only sales but coaching and you know, you owned a business for a little while and all that, you know what I mean? So you seem like you just kind of bleed success. So tell us a little bit about yourself, man.
Man, I don't know how far back you want to go, but man,
All the way.
all the way.
All the way.
Man, I'm the oldest of 5 boys, and my split family. My mom went in one direction, took a half sister of mine and my brother. He lives down in Pensacola now, and don't have a lot of in touch with my half sister much. Now I've kind of grew up more with my brothers that I'm very close with. They're here in Greenville, South Carolina with me. And I got a couple of brothers, and I've got another stepsister that came along later on. And so then I got another stepbrother. So we all kind of gel together. Just actually in 2020, lost a 33-year marriage. So that was kind of a rough go there for a little while. And then, and oddly enough, that was shortly after I got into this roofing thing. So
Right.
It was kind of some up and down. We can talk about that later on, but so kind of got through that. Had a good bit of success in roofing. And like you said, man, I don't say it to brag. I think I just work hard and just really, I think my childhood set me up for the successes that I have now in different industries. I grew up, I can tell you, you know, we didn't have any money, man. We were always kind of on the wrong side of tracks. Talking about being a minority. The places I lived, I was a minority. You know what I'm saying? So I was always a new guy. So sports kind of was my connection where I could kind of come in and fit in quick. If I could play ball and, you know, throw hands, whatever I needed to do, you know what I mean?
Right.
However it needed to work out. I kind of fit in that way. At home, you know, my parents, you know, kind of struggled with various things. And so, you know, we just always moving around a lot. I don't think I went to the same school back-to-back years until 10th grade. And that's after I ran away from home. So just always the new kid, you know what I mean? Like always, you know, trying to fit in. And I think that served me well when I got into different industries. You know what I mean? Like I just feel like I can just walk into any situation, just pick up and get up to speed. Especially helped when I got into roofing. And, you know, roofing I was pretty late in the game to get into that. I had been a Rydell rep for the state of South Carolina. I was only youth rep in the state of South Carolina. So I had 500 something accounts. So if you got a Rydell helmet in this state, you got it from me. And so had a lot of, you know, sports conversations, man. I was living the dream, but then all the concussion stuff started and all the youth programs, which was 90% of my accounts. Was saying, hey, man, we can go flag football. Everybody freaked out for a little while. And I was like, well, man, I sell full contact equipment. That's not going to do me any good.
Right.
Started looking. And I just started throwing out feelers, man. And I reached out to a friend of mine, Albert Lathan. Albert's, you know, with Hunter. And Albert had put on my roof a little while back. He actually was a volunteer at a youth association. I'd packed his helmets up for recertification. So I knew him. I knew a lot of people. He says, man, before you sign up with anything, man, you got to come talk to Hunter. And I said, man, what, dude, I ain't climbing on roofs. I'm not doing all this full commission stuff. Like, I don't know. You know what I mean? I've got things lined up, 6-figure deals. I can, you know, go make some decent money. You know what I mean? It's like, I'm too old for all this stuff. And so I went and talked to Hunter, man, and there's not a better salesman on the planet than Hunter Ballou. You guys probably know that already.
Yep.
You know, he talked me into it. I came back home and told then my wife, I said, man, I'm not signing any of these other deals I got lined up. I'm going to jump in and do this. She said, well, how much base do you get? You know, what's your base? I said, I don't have a base, man. I eat what I kill. And that's tough, man, when, you know, you 48, 49 years old and haven't been doing that stuff before. But that's just the confidence I got from just my childhood and always having to overcome. I always have like a never-ending supply of self-confidence. Sometimes that can get you in trouble, but in this situation, man, it paid off.
Yeah, I like how you said about how, excuse me, I like how you said about how, you know, the upbringing in the childhood really propelled you, you know what I mean, and really helped you in those situations. Because I mean, that makes a lot of sense, and I know like a lot of people can relate to that. Maybe not quite as much as of the moving thing, but I mean, anyone that's, you know, has an Army dad or anything like that, you know, I guarantee they went through all that kind of stuff too. And, you know, that speaks volumes for you, not, you know, just saying, oh, you know, poor me, and finding an excuse and things on a reason not to succeed or anything, but going out and getting it, man. So kudos to you.
Well,
Yeah.
and I say, man, the stories I tell about my childhood and me and my brother's upbringing, man, I don't say that. There's people that have it a lot worse than I ever did.
For sure.
I recognize that. And I definitely respect that. For our situation, like, honestly, like, I've mentored a lot of people, a lot of kids. I purposely, when I got into coach, I knew when I was 11 years old, I was going to be a coach. I ended up coaching 78 sports teams in 6 different sports. I coached high school football for 23 years, high school and middle school basketball. And then all kind of other sports in between, from AAU, travel ball to you know, church league ball. I mean, you name it, I was out there.
Right.
But I knew I wanted to coach because all the positive influences that I got was coming from sports. Whether that was how I fit in, and I could kind of become somebody at every school that I went to, or it was the coaches that showed me love, man. I remember, man, I love to tell this story, but it was I remember the exact day that I knew, the night that I knew I was going to be a coach, and I think that the coaching has helped me in sales, and it helped me obviously when I got into being passionate about trying to coach other people how to do what I do. But it was we were horrible, man. You know about a bad football team, dude. I was 11 years old. We were absolutely the worst football team you could imagine. We're the Bad News Bears of football. I played quarterback and middle linebacker, and I had the freedom to call my own plays on both sides of the ball. I was blitzing every play. Once he told me to tap the tackle on the nose, and I could go blitz that way, I was tapping that kid on the butt all night, man. You know, so I was just blitz. But we scored one time all year, and on that play, I dropped back and threw it. It was a prayer. I mean, it was just a lucky thing, and we connected on it. And man, people jumped the fence. It was the second quarter. We were losing 36-6, but all the fans, everybody jumped, winning. And so when I got to the end zone, I mean, everybody was there. I mean, they had baby strollers out there in the middle of the second quarter because we had never thought we would score. And I remember the coach picked me up. He was just an older guy, just real straight-faced military guy, and he never showed any emotion. And this dude was crying, and he picked me up and said, "Man, I love you, son." And I'll never forget that feeling, you know, at that time, that him not knowing everything that I was going through and my life or whatever, but for him to stand there and show me that emotion, even though it was born from the sport itself, but it was something, man, I want to make other people feel like this. So I knew right then I was going to be a coach. So,
I think we're having some technical difficulties right now. I think Facebook might have locked us out.
They did.
Awesome. They did.
Did I say something wrong?
No,
Nope.
I think we just, yeah.
I talked about the Cowboys in a negative way. They probably
right.
All right, Javier is going to have to send us back in.
Okay, we just got to reset it.
Yep.
Oh, I think we got a notification here to reconnect to your destination. Try clicking that, guys. Yep. I don't want to get off this topic, though, because I really like this topic.
I went ahead and logged in. Actually, kind of looks like we're still on there.
Password you entered is incorrect. Forgot password. Uh-oh. Did you change your password?
I had to create a new one.
Okay. All right. Javier's on it.
All right. Well, tell him to just stop.
Yeah. Don't enter anything yet, Javier. Ty's going to text you.
Actually, I'm just putting it in.
Oh, good now. We're good now, guys. We're rolling, I think.
Good.
We're good.
Redirected.
Okay.
Sorry about that.
All right.
That
Awesome.
was my fault. I sometimes if I share it to the wrong group, they report it. So that's what I was doing when I wasn't paying attention. I was blasting it out to other groups.
It happens, man.
No,
It happens.
sorry about
No,
that, Ken.
so the youth sports thing, man. Number one, I think you have a really good connection. It helps you when you're being a coach, and you said you've coached so many teams. Having the upbringing that you did, really helps you connect with some of these kids on that level, and helps show that you can still be successful having a rough upbringing or whatever the case may be. But I really like the grit that youth sports give you, that any kind of team sports gives you. The camaraderie and stuff that you were probably able to carry over into all your business ventures, that they don't really teach. And I always say that, the military and team sports are really the only two places that you can really develop the taste for the brotherhood and the all for the team type attitude that you get from those two things. There's not really much more of a comparison of, I can't let my brothers down. You know what I mean? And that those are the two things. Would you agree with that, Ken?
Oh yeah, man. I tell you, I was talking to my son. My youngest son still comes. We watch a lot of football together. He actually coaches at a 5A high school, football, basketball, and golf. So he's a chip off the old block. He's actually a teacher though, so he's a great math teacher, probably a better math teacher than I was a coach. So, but yeah, I was talking today, man. I was just losing it, during the game, and like I always do, and I said, man, what did you do after the game was over with? And I'm sitting down and settling. I said, what would we do without sports, man? Like, where would that emotion go? You know what I mean? Like, there's a level when you play,
right.
When you coach, and then when you lose both of those things, like I've stepped away from coaching, and now it's like, where does that go? Like, obviously you can come jump into a gym, but man, watching it on TV, just being that armchair quarterback, which I've been relegated to at this point of my life, but man, just it's so if you never did it, you don't understand what you're missing. But because I experienced those things so much, it's like when I that's why I think that what Hunter built over at the roofing company, Cornerstone Construction, when I came in, like that's the thing that I was gravitated more than anything, man. Like he told me about the money, money can be good, whatever. But man, I've never been driven by money, man. I've been driven by success and whatever that looks like. I didn't care how much money it paid. I just want to sell the most damn roofs. Like I didn't, I mean, it was a competitive thing for me. And within that, you had the family, kind of atmosphere that I didn't have since sports and since giving up coaching. And when I walked in, I just felt that, just everybody kind of pick on each other. It's kind of like a locker room mentality, in the meetings and stuff like that. Man, I was like, damn, this is cool as hell. So that's really what drew me in, was because I felt that vibe,
Yeah. And I tell you what, man, there's something that you can learn from a successful business and a successful sports team. The one thing that they both have in common is they got good culture behind them. You know what I mean? Very rarely do you see a successful sports team win any kind of, national championship or anything. They don't have a good culture in the locker room. And very, very few times do you see a business that will be very successful without having a good culture and a good team behind it. You know what I mean? Because I mean, you guys know, Todd. I mean, this shit, you can't do it by yourself, man. You can't even begin to do it by yourself.
Yeah. And it starts with good leadership. We recently hired a sales manager, and one of the things that intrigued me most about him is that he was a pretty successful baseball player, right? So what that told me is that he knows how to deal with different attitudes, different egos, different mindsets, and being a salesperson, especially a closer, right? You need to know how to deal with those types of egos, right? And a lot of times it's hard for one person to manage that. Like we had Lauren in the position where she was kind of managing the production side of things and the sales people, right? And our salespeople, are a different breed for most. Like Ken, like you're dominating. You're a force to be reckoned with, right? And a lot of successful salespeople are that same force to be reckoned with. And with Chet coming in and kind of being that, herding the cats, I always call it herding the cats. because let's face it, salespeople aren't always the easiest to get along with and want to do things their way and are hard to be coached and mentored. So it takes a certain mindset of a person to be patient, have empathy to be able to listen to them, hear them out, and take what they say, and sometimes leave the rest. But and I feel like, listening to your story there, Ken, I think for you to have the confidence that you have after being moved around and bounced around and a little bit of I guess probably not so easy childhood like a lot of us had, that it's kind of cool how you turned out. You got the good and bad of it. Like, you're hard, you're fierce, you're a force to be reckoned with, but it didn't turn you into an invert. You're not inverted. You know what I mean? You're more of an outgoing and social butterfly. Because I've watched you on your videos and stuff, and homeowners, you got them on a live or a video with them, and you're pulling it out of them more so. Because you could tell a lot of them didn't want to be on your video, but they did it because they liked you, Ken. They believed in what you sold them. They believed that you believed what you sold them.
Right.
Yeah,
I mean,
so
that's the biggest
all
ticket
great
there.
stuff, man.
Right. You got to get someone to believe that. I mean, no, Ty, you say it all the time, dude. People aren't going to think that it's a good idea till they think it's a good idea. You know what I mean? So you can tell them 17 times, but until they think it's a good idea, it's not going to work. And so you got to figure out how to make them believe that it's a good idea.
Right on.
Yeah, and we I even, like, whenever when I started having a good bit of success in sales on the roofing side, I was trying to, people coming and say, man, what are you doing? Because I'd watched all the top stuff. Hunter bought all kind of training, had all that available. And I kind of plugged in and watched little bits and pieces here and there. But ultimately, I was like, man, I'm just going to do this. I'm going to do this the way I do it. I'm just going to go out and be myself and be real. And it's funny that was always my term that I always use, be real. And then whenever I created a sales training system, I actually called it Be Real.
Right.
Made an acronym out of it. But, I just, and Hunter actually said, so, because I told him, I said, man, I'd love to be in a place where I could train and coach people up. And he goes, well, what are you doing specifically? I was like, well, we just talk to people. He said, well, that's not a training program. Like, you got to have something more than just tell people to go talk to people. So I started working on it, and I do a lot of ties back into sports. So, like, when it comes to handling objections, that's obviously the only thing between, being Tom Brady is the 11 guys on defense. Everybody can be Tom Brady if you're throwing against air, right? Everybody's Mike Tyson if you're just hitting the heavy bag. You know what I mean? Like, if there's somebody hitting you back or ducking and dodging or whatever, running from you, then you're going to knock out everybody. But so I kind of looked at it like this, and even on the objection stuff, is what makes Tom Brady the best that ever played. Now, it hurts my soul to have to say that, but he is, and the reason he is he's the best at overcoming objections. He's not got the strongest arm. He's not the most accurate. He
doesn't run the fastest 40. Nope.
He's decent in the pocket. Like, he's got a lot of intangibles. I mean, he's horrible athletically, like running.
Right.
Good in the pocket, but he's not top 5 in any of those categories, I wouldn't say. But what he is the best at is knowing what you're going to do before you do it. And that's how I approached door knocking and sales, is I already know what your objections before you get it out of your mouth. Like, it's kind of like him watching a safety move down and this linebacker moving back and this tackle sliding into a certain gap. He knows what you're about to do. And it's almost humorous whenever they start to give me an objection. I was like, come on, dude, like, you got to do better than that, man.
Yeah.
Like, and so I always approach it like a sport. Like, it's literally, I always say, win the conversation. You're not going to always get a sale, but I'm going to leave with some kind of value. I'm going to leave with your phone number. I'm going to leave with your email address, a neighbor's name or something. And so I tied everything that I did back into my sales training. And that was my approach. So I was always playing a sport in my head, even though I was actually knocking doors and selling roofs.
That's cool, man. That's a really cool way to look at it. Tell us about your first day on a roof. Your first day ever in the roofing game.
Man, that was something, man. So I came in and there's a really, really solid sales guy, man, that was a sales manager. He was young. He was in his early 20s. And he had just, won some awards in the upstate for being, really good. And I acknowledge that. And I think being older, I think God brings things to us in our own time, in the time that we need to, I needed the experience before to be able to handle where I was at that time. And even now that I've even leaving the roofing industry, I think all that prepared me and led me this door opened that door that opened that door. But as I got into it, I knew everybody was saying, "Oh, Kenny's going to kill it. Kenny's going to kill it." And I was like, "Hold on, dude. Like, I feel like I'm I'm just a 5-star recruit coming out of high school, but I have not played in college yet." You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not doing
Everyone's faster and stronger.
Yeah, I was like, dude, y'all just chill. Like, I don't want those high expectations. I'm like, I'm gonna do what I do. And I have the confidence of that. But I knew that it was going to hurt other relationships of people that were already established. You know what I'm saying?
Right, yeah.
So I just kind of downplayed that, and I was quietly confident because I can't like live my life without that. That's just who I am. But I didn't want to kind of put it out there. So I watched my training videos, man. I was doing what I was supposed to do, and then we went out the first day, and it was me and this young guy, and we rode over there, and there was no tension, like obvious tension, but you could kind of tell, you know, he's like, "Oh, this guy's supposed to be all this," like, you know what I mean? And so we get over to a neighborhood, man. It's January, it's cold, and we get out there and we go into this little cul-de-sac. And I'm just gonna mirror him. I'm just gonna sit back on his hip and let him do his thing, right? So there's no pressure on me. I remember all the stuff that Dale Childrer said and Beck. I had 25 pages of notes, man, I'd written out from all these different people, and I was, you know, felt pretty good. I watched a bunch of videos about what hail damage looks like and what wind damage looks like and all this different stuff. And I get out there, but none of that pressure's there because I know he's going to do his thing. I'm just standing there, right?
Right.
So knock on the first 2 doors, nobody comes. Well, I start walking across the yard. He goes back to the truck to move the truck up. Well, he rolls down the window on the passenger side and says, "Hey, man, he says, I've got a adjuster meeting going on at the church over here. I'm going to run. I'll be back in about an hour. Go ahead and knock this side and come back down. I'll be back before you get done." Well, I'm not going to be a punk, right? I know he knew he had that adjuster meeting before, right?
Right. He
just purposely left me in his neighborhood, you know what I mean, just to kind of prove a point. And I get it, dude. I wasn't even mad about it. I was like, okay, man. Right. But then the competitive part of me is like, okay, we'll see how this works out, brother. So now I'm fired up, but I'm also nervous as hell because I don't know what to say. Like I got all these notes. I go up to this door. And I go to knock on the door. Now, keep in mind, I got a Cornerstone shirt on, but I got no business card. I got no computer. I got nothing, dude. Like I'm just, and I don't know what to say. But it don't stop me. I knock on the door, and I'm literally, as he's walking the door, I'm sitting there thinking, like, what was that, like 20-second pitch or whatever Dale had come up with? I'm trying to remember. I can't even remember the first word of it. Like I don't even know the first words that come out of my mouth, right? And at this moment, I'm realizing, man, I just gave up 2 6-figure job positions to do this, right? It's with the wind factor is 27 degrees out here, and I don't know what the hell I'm going to do. So my whole life is flashing before my eyes basically at this time. And literally 20 seconds before that, I was like the most chill, like, dude, like no problems. So I had no clue. Well, I looked down, he's got a Steelers flag in his garden right there beside the door. So I looked down, and I'd seen that he had a Pennsylvania tag on his car. So I saw that, and he opens the door. I literally didn't even make eye contact. I was scared to look at the guy. And I'm not that guy. Like I can talk to a president. I don't care who I'm talking to. It doesn't bother me. But I'm like freezing up right now. I looked down at the Steelers flag and I literally pointed at the flag. And it was like I was talking to the flag. I said, "I see you're a Steelers fan." And I just stared at the flag until he said something. I didn't know what to do. And he goes, "Yeah, man, I'm from Pittsburgh." And so I forgot why I was there. I talked to this guy for 20 years or 20 minutes. I took out my phone. I was showing him pictures with Antonio Brown and James Harrison and Mike Tomlin and Tuitt and all these other guys. I'm showing him these pictures, man. And so we're just shooting it. And all of a sudden he says, "Man, if you don't mind, man, why are you here?" And I said,
"Oh yeah, that's right,
dude. I can care less about the damn sale, right? I'm just talking Steelers football. I really don't care." So I was like, "Man, we're just out here looking for damage, trying to get people to get insurance through their roof." So I said, "So you're going to go to a game this year?" So I literally was on topic for about 4 seconds, and then I went right back into Steelers. So we talked a little bit more, and then he leans out because it's cold as hell outside. His garage comes out, so he's trying to look down both sides of the street. And he says, "Man, do you got like a ladder or a truck, anything?" I said, "Oh shit, dude!" Like that's when I realized I didn't even have a ladder. Like I'm out here trying to get on roofs. I don't even have a ladder. Dude left me without a ladder.
Oh my goodness.
So then I said, "Man, he took the truck, dude. He'll be back or whatever." Now I'm starting to think he probably thinks I'm full of crap. Like I don't even, like I'm there to rob him or something. I don't know what he's thinking at this point. And then he cut me off and he says, "Man, I got a ladder out back if you want to use it." So I went back and got his ladder.
Oh my goodness.
Got on his roof. Didn't know what I was looking at. look up, froze my butt off up there, came back down, knocked on his door. I said, yeah, man, I think you got damaged. He said, what do we do? I said, dude, I have no clue. We got to wait on the dude to get back. So dude comes back, and I'm in the same driveway that I was when he left over an hour ago.
Mhm.
And he comes back, and I was like, man, this guy wants to sign up. Like, I don't even know what to call it. Like, I don't know, call
Yeah.
it or whatever. I just said sign up. Like he was,
Mhm.
sign up for membership or something. So, yeah, man. So I sold my first one, and I had no clue what the hell I was doing, dude. And that kind of ties into whenever I do my trainings, I tell guys, man, it's be real, is relate, educate, ask, and laugh. Laugh could have been listen. I kind of fought back and forth with that. I think listen is probably a little bit more on the B2B side. But when you're a homeowner, you just want to like de-escalate things, stuff. So I try to cut a little bit of humor in there, or whatever. I mean, don't do a stand-up, everything like that, but just, kind of lighten the mood. So, but relate is the first one. And that's all I did there. I couldn't educate him.
Right.
I didn't really ask him any questions having to do with his roof or anything like that. We laughed a little bit, but those two things are just being human, man. That's just being real. Like it ain't even about the other stuff. You can do the other stuff and become great. And that's obviously what you work on. But if you can just like relate with people and ask them questions and listen, stuff like that, man, you're going to kill it.
Yeah.
What an awesome story, man.
Yeah, that is a great story, Ken. You told us that story when I was at that free retreat in Gatlinburg, I believe it was. And at that point in time, it fit, like, be real. You know what I mean? That your acronym that you came up with your system, your training process. I knew at that point in time, and I'm not just blowing smoke up your ass. I was like, we got to get this dude on the show.
Right.
It's just taken this long to get you on the show, because fortunately we have people that we're booked out, which is pretty cool. But I knew we wanted to get you on the show. And when I spoke to you, you said to me, well, I don't think I'm going to be in the roofing industry much longer. Do you still want me on the show? And I was like, dude, of course I do. And when I called you a legend, like, Ken, you've made an impression on our industry, whether you know it or not. Your ripple effect reaches a lot further than you know.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, like you've touched a lot of people's lives, and it's a shame to see you go. And I seriously doubt you're going to be gone for long, bro, because it's like shooting dope, right?
Yeah.
You feel that warm fuzzy for the first time, man. It's tough to not go back to it. And at least it's been my experience in the roofing industry. And God bless you on your new adventure and journey. And I hope you're very successful over there. But hopefully you don't fully leave the roofing industry, because you have had such an impact. You've had great mentorship, and it would be a shame to watch your skill set and your system and your process go to waste. And it's just food for thought, man. And it doesn't, hopefully maybe you do some moonlighting or some, a little side hustle with your Be Real, man, because I love it. And I want to hear more about that, that story and how it led into the Be Real process.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I bet that kid's still wondering how the fuck you sold that guy without a damn ladder.
Exactly, man.
Man,
That's great, man.
to me, it was just a challenge, man. It was always, it goes back to the child. Like I sat and really deciphered. I was like, man, why am I having this success? Because like there's better salesmen than me. There's there's guys that, at my age, I mean, I slowed down a lot. Like there's guys that are 25 years old out here that have a lot more energy than I do.
Mm-hmm.
And I just really started breaking it down. And I just think it's, for me, I think a big part of it was knowing that I had to get the other person talking. I had to get them. I learned quickly to ask questions, man, get them, talking as much as you can, and just that gives you more material of how to close them at the end of it. And just let people, that's the beautiful thing about door knocking, man, is like, to me, it was exciting to think, man, this could be a 23-year-old black dude. This could be a 75-year-old black lady. Like this could be, a Hispanic woman that we can barely communicate, but like one way or another, we're going to get through this. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it was just that constant, it was an adrenaline rush, to get in those situations. And it was just like replacing the sports, man. It really was. And then the coach in me, because I was so passionate about coaching, when I decided that I was good enough at this and I wanted to help other people, be able to experience this kind of success, then the coach came out. Then the coach of study game film, and because I mean, even at high school level, man, we're doing game film for 8-9 hours every Sunday. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Breaking down last week's game, and then that's not even counting. Usually every 3 or 4 weeks, I'm doing a self-evaluation, going back and breaking down my play calling, making sure I'm not too predictable. So there's another 8 or 10 hours that I'm throwing in on top of these 60, 70-hour weeks, during the season. But basically, that's what I started doing. When I was on the doors, I was like, okay, for every conversation that I had, no matter how it ended, whether I closed them, I got the inspection, we called it in, it ended up becoming a retail job, like literally go back and break down film, so to speak. And where could I have interjected another question? Where could I have done better? Even in the wins, man, I used to tell my quarterbacks all the time, they'd get away with some crap and they'd come to the sideline all happy. I was like, no, hell no, brother. Why did you go to your third read when you were supposed to be on the front side? You went straight back over here. What happened?
Right.
And everybody in the stands think that he made a great play.
Right.
And then a lot of times I say this too about, like, I know I go back to quarterbacks a lot, but I mean, yeah, you showing off your arm strength, but that's because you threw the damn ball too late. If you throw it on time, you ain't got to throw it no harder than Joe Montana ever threw a football.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Just do it in rhythm, make your reads. So even in the victories of the things that I did close, I would go back and self-coach myself and say, man, where could I have done something better than that?
Yeah.
You know?
Well,
And so
that's
the last half
difference.
of me door knocking before I left roofing temporarily on doors to go out and work with Hunter over roofing.com was just me trying to hone in exactly the processes and the X's and O's of what I was doing so that I could coach it.
Right. Yeah. No, that's good stuff, Ken. And that I think that's, you hit the nail on the head on what makes you different and what makes you successful. What makes Tom Brady successful, what made Kobe Bryant successful, Michael Jordan. It's the work that they put in the gym. They don't just work on Sundays. You know what I mean? It's all that work that they put in, the preparation, the attitude that you will not work harder than me. You know what I mean? Like that's the attitude that helps you win. And the whole coaching thing, it just ties in perfectly, man. You know what I mean? Because Ty, we say all the time, what's the number one, important thing to do with your homeowners? You educate them.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You're coaching your homeowner on why they need the roof. Coaching them on why you need to do that. Sure, anyone can go out and just slap shingles on a roof.
Right.
But let's figure out why you need a new roof when you only have a 5-year-old roof. You know what I mean? Do you have improper ventilation? Is there storm damage? You got 70 years worth of shingles on top of that roof that people are just slapping shingles over top of over and over again. You know what I mean? Let's find the underlying reason. And Ken, I'll tell you, man, you remind me a lot of Deshaun Bryant.
Yeah.
You really do. Just
man.
your attitude and how you approach things, and just be a person. You know what I mean? Just be a real person. It reminds me a lot of Deshaun.
Well, I've since I got into this specifically, and I created my own sales training. Then people that had been through a lot of different sales training were coming back saying, man, that is, and honestly, like, even though I watched some of the other stuff, the big industry leading, trainers that are out there that I had access to, I kind of skimmed through some of it, man. I didn't employ a lot of that stuff. Like it was absorbed into everything I was already doing. But when I started trying to coach it and train it, then it's like I said, these other people saying, man, that reminds me of that, different books that they read, different things like that. So I started actually getting in, listening to guys like Alex Hormozy and Zig Ziglar and all these other guys. And it was like mind blowing that these guys, I'd never even heard of them or paid attention to them or really cared. You know what I mean? But then when I go back and listen to them, like they're saying some of the terminology is tweaked a little bit, but a lot of the same things that they say are the same principles that I built all my training on. You know what I mean? And it's amazing that somehow I got to that point on my own without, kind of going and listening to their stuff. So it kind of reinforced that I was on the right path of what I was training. But I think mine is just a little bit more relatable because I tied it. One of the things I open up with my training with, and Ty might have said it whenever you were there, is a lot of people don't want to be like, they don't brag on being a salesman. You know what I mean? It's like, man, I'm not really a salesman. And by the time I do my presentation when I was at those retreats, I'd already been with the guys for like a day and a half. So we'd already been nearly 2 full days of hanging out. So I'd had conversations with everybody in the room. And then when I get back up to my presentation, everybody's like, man, I couldn't sell. There's no way I could do that or whatever. I was like, dude, everybody, and this is what I said when I get in front of everybody, everybody's a salesman. Everybody on this earth is only here because of a successful sale. Either your mama convinced your daddy or your daddy convinced your mama. But somebody told somebody something, and here you sit, right? So I tie a lot of my training back to the dating scene, right?
Right.
And pitches are like lines. You know, pitches will work if you go around and you throw them at 50 women in the bar.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like if you're going to come up with a line and you thought, yeah, I have no doubt you'll leave with a few phone numbers. The way I do it, I'm going to pick which one and I'm going to go get her number specifically because I'm not going to give her a line because, you know, a pitch is one direction. You know, when a baseball pitcher throws a ball, he don't expect it to come back. This isn't intended for you to hit it back at me. This is a pitch. I don't want you to hit it back at me. And that's as salesman, I think a lot of times what my vibe was when I thought about sales and everything is like, hey, I'm just going to talk and say a lot of stuff real fast. And you're just going to, you know, buy me because I'm going to, you know, just hit you with all this stuff. And what I realize is that's one way. And the only way that you're really going to sell and connect with somebody is it being two-way. So instead of having pitches and lines, I'm going to have a conversation. So, and then anytime I always had this thing in my back pocket where anytime they start kind of looking at my business card funny or looking over my shoulder at my truck or, you know, you can kind of tell they're trying to figure out how to get out of it. Instantly, I'll ask them a question because now I call it mind control. I can control your mind. I can take you from trying to get out of the situation back to where I want you. So how long have you owned your home? That's non-threatening, right? It's not, and it's going to pull you off of thinking whatever crap you're going to make up to try to get out of this conversation. So then you'll tell me 12 years. Okay. Well, in 12 years, how old would you say your roof is? Well, it was here when we got here. Okay, cool. So, I mean, I don't know, 12, 14 years old, something like that. So in 14 years, and I'm just going to follow up a question. In 14 years, how many times would you say you've had your roof inspected by a professional? Now, what I just did is I just created urgency because they realized not only did I say, have you had it done? I said, how many times have you had it done?
Mm-hmm.
Now they feel irresponsible. Like, damn, I ain't had it done at all. Right. So now all of a sudden there's some value in me standing in front of them. And it's just because I asked 2 questions. Right. So that's just kind of part of the way I try to control the conversation and kind of take them where I want them to go.
That's good stuff. That is good stuff. You know, and that's stuff that you can't, I don't think you can train that stuff. I mean, you can, but I think you were born with that natural knack to be able to read people. Obviously, you got to have some kind of natural skill to be able to go out, not just balls to knock on people's door, because up north here, you know, we don't do a lot of door knocking. We canvas areas, we call it scouting areas and stuff like that. But most of it's retail. We wait for the phone to ring. And we market and we brand ourselves. So the sales technique is a little bit different. And when Chris was talking about like educating the homeowner, we're trying to add value because you know for a fact that they're going to call 2 other contractors, right? So we take the approach of like, you know, the educational thing. We're adding value. This is why you would want to go with us because we're the ones that actually got on your roof to inspect it. We're the ones that crawled in your attic space to make sure you had adequate insulation and ventilation. You know, do you have proper intake and exhaust and maybe your gutters are over, you know, undersized. You know, maybe you should bump it up to, you know, a little bit bigger gutter. You know, just that educational aspect of and having the confidence in the product that you're selling and confidence in yourself because we are doing them a service. And the cool thing is when they call us, they call us. They're in need. There's a pain, right? We're not trying to go out and not necessarily create a pain for them, but you're trying to help them identify that, hey, when was the last time your roof was inspected? How many times have you had it inspected in 14 years? And you're creating that sense of urgency, which is totally a different, now that I'm just like sitting here putting the dots together, like it's definitely like 2 different types of sales pitches, I guess, from us up here in the north to you guys down there in the south. But I keep going back to, you know, I know Diego's on here. He's like, hopefully you don't go too far away, Ken. And I'm saying that because it's like, I'm bummed that you're leaving, you know, and I can't even imagine those guys that have gotten close to you, you know, what they're thinking right now. But I'm sure you'll stay in touch with. Are you moving out of North Carolina?
No, I actually, I was splitting time. I was in Greenville, South Carolina, upstate South Carolina. It was my home. I've been here for 23 years. And then when I took the other position with the other roofing company, it was in Raleigh. So I was there for 4.5 days a week, and I would come back home. So now I'm just back home now. And,
Oh,
so yeah, it's really worked out well. And man, I tell everybody that I work with, man, I'm always here, brother. Like anytime you need help or whatever, man, this room is actually where I did, when I first started creating my training. I actually had people come here, individual guys where the company wasn't necessarily going to pay for training, but they'd come over here and I'd sit on this whiteboard right here in my gym, and they'd sit over there on benches and stuff. I'd rig up a little classroom, and we just go through the whole deal, man. 2.5, 3 hours of role playing and just kind of going through the system, man. So, so yeah, Diego was one of the first guys, man. When Diego come in, to Cornerstone, man, he was, really green. I'd been at it, been kind of successful already. And, I took him on a few roofs, man. And so I'm very close to Diego. We talk 3-4 days a week.
Yeah, he was the first one to comment in here, man, and he was blown away that we got his dad on the show.
Yeah, yeah, his daddy. That ain't right.
That's
So what are you going to go do?
what he said.
What are you doing? What industry are you getting involved with?
Man, we've not officially announced it yet, but I don't, it's not a big deal. But actually, the guy that Diego went to work with, a guy named TJ Norris, and TJ is an absolute stud, man. And he's got a company called the Barndo Company. They build barn dominiums, and they are currently the #2 custom home builder in the country. They're already booked out through all of next year. That's how well it's going. And he's been mainly spearheading the sales, and but he bringing me on as director of sales. He actually came and sat in this gym. Was one of the first groups of people that I trained, and it wasn't to train him; it was to train a couple of guys that worked for his roofing company. He had a small outfit, and him and another guy merged, and that's where Diego went to run that deal for them. But so he came in and sat in on my stuff, and that guy is as good of a sales guy as you're ever going to meet in your life. And for him to give me the props and everything that day, I was like, man, I couldn't believe it. That was probably the first big feedback that I got from somebody that I respected so much, and it kind of humbled me, tremendously humbled me, man. Whenever he was giving me the feedback of how good the content was, and I was like, man, I mean, it's just like, I can't believe this guy is thinking that. And now for him to me and him to be able to connect and me go work with him in this industry is really exciting.
Yeah, that's cool, man.
Yeah,
that's cool when you finally identify that you actually have something to give, to your industry or to the people around you. I recently had a moment where I had an opportunity to speak, and the amount of people that came up to me afterwards was like, wow, that was great. And I was like, because I feel like half a dumb half the time. And it's like, when you finally get that click and it's like, I do have something to offer, and at least for me, I'm my own worst critic. And I'm sure you can relate to that too at times, but it's pretty cool to have somebody, like you said, it was flattering to have somebody actually come out and tell you, your system's great. What you're doing for the industry is fantastic. And then to have him actually hire you after you train a couple of his dudes, that is a flattering situation.
And for it to be in a whole different industry, like
right.
I don't know. I mean, I know how to sell stuff. I mean, you know what I mean? Like I know, and a lot of people say sales and sales and sales. And I actually, be real, I've actually applied that and trained people in different industries as well. Cause a lot of that stuff is parallel, you know what I mean? Even like when you talk about the retail side, man, I love being able to have like retail, conversations where, they called us and I can just go in there. I felt, I mean, it's nothing against one side or another, but I felt like I was like shooting fish in a barrel. I was like, good Lord. So you're going to send me to somebody that knows I'm coming, that don't want to shoot me for knocking on the door?
Right.
That's almost too easy. And if I get where I can present and educate, man, it was like, man, this is awesome. So,
that's good stuff, man.
Great setup you guys have.
Yeah. No, I like that, man. It's good stuff. So, I mean, is there anything else, any of the gory, gooey stuff that you want to get into and let the fans know that, what made the man, the myth, the legend? Like, give us some of the good stuff, bro.
Man, it was, I can tell you we talked a little bit earlier about culture.
Mhm.
And I'm going to try not to get emotional on this, brother, but it was the darkest time of my life was 2020. And there was some writing on the wall that I knew that you know, me and my wife at the time were in some rough waters. But I actually had won a trip for GAF paid for like selling the most roofs. So me and a couple of guys from Cornerstone went down to Key West. And while I was gone, I watched on my home cameras as my wife moved out of my house. And I barely remember the rest of the trip, man. I don't fly very well. So I'd taken some lorazepam my doctor gave me. And then because we were going through problems before that, I'd never been one to take. One thing about my childhood and everything, I was around drugs and alcohol a lot, and that wasn't my vice. That wasn't what I succumbed to. So for me to take stuff was very rare. But I had lorazepam to help me fly because I'm very claustrophobic, and they actually give me some other antidepressant or something. I can't remember what it was, but I wasn't really taking it, but I had it with me. And man, I just started throwing those things down my gullet, man, down there and drinking. I wanted to escape from life, man. So Hunter and the team was there with me. And they were trying to support me, but I remember, I vaguely remembered a year and a half later when me and Hunter was talking that we had went riding jet skis in the ocean. I forgot all about that until he said that. I was like, damn, I remember that now. It was burning my eyes. We didn't have any goggles or anything. And so, but I completely forgot, man. I was just out of it. And when I got back in this weight room, literally 4 feet behind my chair right there, I was alternating, drinking shots of Jack, hitting that heavy bag, and sitting at this desk right here writing letters to each one of my kids with my Cock 357 right where this phone's sitting right now. And I was checking out, man. I had made so many mistakes the first half of my marriage. Now, from the time my daughter was born, a lot of things changed. Everything changed. I did a complete 180, but damage was done. You know what I mean? And so just having to own that I'd put us in that situation and I could not get that back. I was in the darkest place in my life, and I didn't want to go on. And when you talk about culture, man, from that point, from that trip for the next 2 years, and this is when Hunter sold the company, went through all the other things that he was going through, whatever, flying all around the world, doing all these different things that he does. And I don't think a 2 to 3 week window went by that he didn't call me up. Now it might be a damn 3 o'clock in the morning because he's in San Diego or somewhere and he don't really care about anybody's sleep schedule. But he'd call, hey man, how's it going? And I would instantly start apologizing for not selling enough roofs. You know what I mean? Because I'm still thinking about Hunter as the business owner. He could give a shit less. I don't give a shit about that, man. How are you doing? Mm-hmm. And so, but based on that, like that bled down through our whole team. So when I got back and people kind of knew what was going on, that night that I was here, going to end it, man. A couple of guys from the team reached out to me, and RoofCon was coming up out in Houston. And I said, man, I'm not going to RoofCon, brother. Like, I'm not, like, I don't even want to have the conversation. And, but a real good friend of mine, man, I knew him well before roofing. I got him into roofing, and he's still killing it now. A guy named Terrell Jameson. Terrell came by, and he goes, dude, we're driving. I said, well, I'm picking your ass up. So he came pick me up and drove me to RoofCon. And that saved my life, man. Like, if I'd have been left here and the whole team had went to Houston, there was nobody here, that would have been a wrap, brother. And there's a picture that we took when we were in Salt Lake City that Hunter had brought us. It was before Revolt or any of that stuff, but it was basically a lot of the same principles, the same things that we did on Personal Development Day, day one of Revolt retreats. But we did those there in that place in Salt Lake, man, and those connections and feeling like that part of the team and that culture, man, that culture ended up, almost a year later, saving my life, man. Feeling that connectedness that I didn't have anywhere else in my life at that time. So when you think your culture is just about sales and things like that, brother, man, it's a hell of a lot more than that. And I'm proof of it.
Yeah, it goes deeper than that, man. It's about a fellowship and camaraderie with family, your extended family, which was your roofing family, and that right there is where the rubber meets the road when it comes to true fellowship and true brotherhood. And it sounds like you had, fortunately, God had placed your brothers in your life when you needed it most. And thank God that you weren't left behind in Greenville. That Terrell picked your ass up and drove you to RoofCon.
Right.
And I'm grateful that he did. And it's like,
Mhm.
Ken, you're not the only one that's experienced that kind of things. You're not the only one that's made bad decisions and regretted them and felt like I was a failure or felt like you were a failure. We've all gone through that dark period of time, and we're here. We're here to talk about it, right? We're here to spread the message and inspire other people that you don't have to go where we went, or if you have, ending your life isn't the way to go because it's a selfish act. And at the time, we don't think like that. We're thinking we're better off if we're not here. Right. I mean, at least for me, I thought that. Been there, did that. I knew exactly how I was going to go out. Right. But looking back at it now, when I thought it would probably have been best for everybody if I wouldn't be here anymore, looking back now, I realize how selfish and self-centered that was because of the damage and the pain that I would create in everybody else's lives, tenfold worse than what it was that I was doing when I was here, right? And I'm glad you shared that with us because I don't think, not that I hang out with you a lot, but I don't think I've ever heard that story. Maybe bits and pieces of it down there at the Revolt retreat, but not the whole story of them picking you up and taking you to RoofCon and Hunter calling you every day like that and being your friend, not an entrepreneur, your boss or your leader or anything like that, but a friend, like truly, sincerely worried about you.
Well,
Yeah.
most of that was after he had sold the company. So,
Oh,
I mean, you know what I mean? Like a lot of that was after it, he was already, didn't really have the ties to the company anymore. So, but yeah, it was and honestly, like to look at where I'm at today, I mean, since you follow me on Facebook, you've seen I'm in a relationship now.
yep.
And I've met, I'm in a different, I can't be in a better state of mind at this time. Like I just can't imagine what else could be going well for me. Almost to where it's scary, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, man.
I'm giving thanks every chance I get,
Yeah.
because it's just amazing, how God works and things, and I talked about this one time in a Fearless 44, where you have to do the live videos and you talk
Mhm.
about different things or whatever. And, one of them, here's the crazy thing. The crazy thing is that I reached out to this woman, because of her profession, initially to try to recruit her into Fueled, which is a mastermind that Hunter started.
Mhm.
Right. It wasn't a fit necessarily for her. She's a mortgage loan officer, but she doesn't have her own business. She's a branch manager, whatever. But so kind of started that conversation. And then, the next thing was, in between the, retreats, we had back-to-back retreats, and, I had some downtime, and so I reached out to her, and we met for lunch during one of those retreats. So it was like, and the crazy thing is, so there's two ties to Hunter's business and me working with Hunter and things that like tied me and her together. But before I even reached out to her, she had been on my Facebook and saw my Facebook lives. And she's actually told the story of that she developed feelings for me before she ever met me because of how open I was and the things I talked about on my lives. And,
Mhm.
I remember one of the things that I talked about, and we had just talked about this a couple of days ago, her and I, was whenever I, spoke about God moving you, to where you're supposed to be. And we get into a place where we're comfortable. And, that's where my life was, man. Like my life, I just made like a comfortable life, but there was no passion or anything. It was just like, okay, I'm just waiting to damn retire and die, I guess. You know what I mean? It was just
Mhm.
raise the kids, focus her on that. When I got out of coaching, I didn't have anything for that busy time. You know what I mean? So it just kind of, I got in terrible shape. Like it was just a disaster. But, um, my ex had to leave me for me to move out of that space. You mean, because I would have just sat there. And because I went through that pain and I had to be pushed out of the damn door because I was holding on with everything I had, brother. Like for the first 2 months after she left, I was like, I'll go to counseling. I'll do all this, like whatever. I was trying, man. But I remember I was going to counseling. I was going to a marriage counselor that she wouldn't even go to. I was going to a therapist, and I was going to two different preachers that I knew of. That one of them was my preacher, and another one was another very highly recommended marriage counselor preacher. So I'm going to 4 things a week, man, trying to just figure this out, dude. And but I remember he said, "Man, there's nothing that you can do." One of the preachers told me, "There's nothing that you can do that's going to stop, God from doing what He wants to do." And like I just realized that, man, I can fight and do all these different things, man, but I was supposed to be moved. And as hard as I fought, it was just pointless, because this is where He wanted me, and I couldn't have got there if I'd have stayed where the hell I was at. So
Yeah.
Just super passionate, man, about where my life is now, man. I owe so much to the roofing industry. Hunter, I met some amazing people, man, and who knows what the future holds. I'm really anxious and looking forward to what I'm about to jump into, because it's a tall task. I mean, we got some huge goals set up, and just having that challenge in front of me, man, is something I look forward to. But what I've had to accomplish and the things I've had to overcome in roofing, and things I figured out about not only that, but even Raleigh. Like I was like, man, why did God have me go to Raleigh? You mean, like, man, I was 4.5 hours from my daughter, from my son, from anything that I knew. I knew no one up there. The way that team is, they don't really meet on a weekly basis. They all kind of live in their own spots and do everything remote. So there was no connections, man. I'm just up there in an apartment and just contemplating everything. But I had to get out of this place because in the dating scene and everything like that, I'd been talking to different people, and I needed to be out where I could just sit and really just evaluate what was important and what was gonna be the foundation I was going to build the rest of my life on, not just something here and there, short-term things. And man, the more I was able to get up there and be secluded, it was like where He just sent you out in the desert, say, okay, you're going to go out there. But what happened from that was she was coming out to see me in Raleigh. When I'd come home, I'd come here, I'd go see her. She's about an hour away. She's moving in now, but there were just so many things that had to happen. Like I had to go through, and I had some dark times up in Raleigh, just sitting in that damn apartment. Like I didn't really want to be that far away from everything, but that's where I had to be. So I just, like I said, I talked about, God having to push you out of the door. Sometimes we're not going to just get up and walk out of a comfortable situation normally. So we have to be pushed there. So I'm extremely thankful for it, man. For the pain from the childhood to a broken marriage to whatever, man. Ultimately, it just landed me where I'm at. And
Yeah,
I
man.
couldn't be happier. So
I know for a knucklehead like me, I can't grow without experiencing some kind of pain. And unfortunately, 90% of the time, it's self-inflicted pain, right?
Yeah.
But Janice said it best. God does for us what we can't do for ourselves sometimes. And it's funny how we experience things like this, and at the time we don't realize the opportunity that is presented us, right? We hold on, right? And we try to take our will back, like you were trying to save the marriage. You were trying to do all these things. But really, if we would have just let go, you know what I mean? We could have probably got where you are today a lot quicker. But you seem like you're a lot like me, a little stubborn, a little hard-headed. And self-will run riot takes over. And we try to control the situation. And that's kind of what put us in the position that we were in to begin with, was trying to control shit. But sometimes we got to give up the win, and it sounds like you really found your spot, and God put you right where you needed to be once you started to go with the flow of it. You stopped questioning it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Maybe a couple of times you're like, what the fuck am I doing in Raleigh right now? But it just felt right. You know what I mean? You finally gave up, but that's good stuff, man. I appreciate you coming on the show, man. We held you hostage for about an hour and 4 minutes.
Yeah.
I know you're a busy man.
Yeah, man. We got to hit with the question yet.
Oh, go ahead.
Yeah. So Ken, we asked this question to everyone that comes onto the show, man. And I feel like you're going to have a pretty good answer here. So kind of leading into like what I started off with, you've been successful in a lot of different avenues in your life. You're still currently successful. I'm sure you could, kind of back down a little bit if you really wanted to, but you're not, you're going into another venture. what motivates you, man? Like, what motivates you not just to suit up every day, but like put, maximum effort into everything that you do? Like, what drives you and motivates you?
Man, this is supposed to be a short answer, right?
It can be as long as
It
you
doesn't
want.
have to be short, man.
Man, my birth mother left when I was less than 2 years old. I remember seeing her one time when I was about 11, and then I really got to sit down and talk to her probably when I was about 14. Then my stepmom, she had her own issues, man. I don't judge anybody. Hell, I've had my issues, so I'm not pointing fingers at her. She had struggles that affected her, but it also trickled down onto us. And I was never a priority to anybody. You know what I mean? I was just somebody you had to feed them and make sure they, got up and went to school or whatever. But I think having to be so self-reliant and so many things being stacked against you and not feeling like you're worthy or that you're, going to be, dude, I was straight A's everywhere I went, and I was moving around all the time. I didn't make a B on my report card until I was in 8th grade. So even in those situations, but it was like I was still being successful, but there was never any recognition for it. You know what I mean? I was good at sports, but my dad never came to watch a football game. Right. My stepmom came to one game in high school, and that was when I played her alma mater, and she actually wore her Letterman jacket and sat on the other side. So when you feel like it's you against the world, that's why I got this lone wolf tattoo right here. When you feel like it's you against the world, that's all the damn motivation you need.
Amen.
So that's what motivates me, man.
That's good, man.
Great answer.
That's real.
Yeah,
That's
we
real.
haven't heard that yet.
Yeah.
That's a good one, man.
But everybody's got it in them, man. It's just you got to find what it is,
Mm-hmm.
Right.
You got to find what it is. For me, that fire was kind of put in me early on, and then it just continues. So whatever room I step into, I'm going to evaluate and see, where everything is. But ultimately, I want to become the guy. You know what I mean? And I don't have to be out in front doing it, but like in my mind, I have to know. And honestly, in some ways, like, and I'm not being arrogant, dude, there's way better sales guys in this industry to me, like way better. And there's guys that just absolutely bust it, man. Jacob Fuchs is a freaking monster, dude. That guy just gets out there and just crushes. And there's several of them, but I just know him personally. But man, in some ways, it's like I feel like I just I came in, I did that, and I accomplished it, and I got it under my belt, and now like I only have one life. You know what I mean? So like I'm looking forward to the this Barndo company and seeing what I can do there, man, and just try to crush that. You know what I mean? It's like it's almost like you think that it's bad that you have moved around, made a bunch of different like short-term friends or whatever, and in a lot of ways you don't have those deep roots anywhere. But at the same time, it gets you where you can be successful in all those different areas. And then the drawback is that you kind of almost get bored with it. You mean like you get bored with stuff? It's like I would knock on the door and I can make $4,000 off of this house, but I'm almost bored even having this damn conversation. You know what I mean? Like, it's like you keep having to, you're used to kind of get up and move. And it's always a new challenge. It's always a new team. It's always a new coach. It's always a new, a new sport. Like it's always something different. And it's like, I don't know. I just feel like I did what I can do in the room. I could continue to do it, but it's going to be continuing to do the same thing I've already done. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So that's why I'm really looking forward to this challenge. But anyway, I know I took that too long.
No way, that was good stuff.
Man. Absolutely
That's
not.
what
This
we
has been
want
a
to
great
hear.
episode, man. Great episode.
Good deal,
For
man.
sure. But thank you so much for coming on. And Ken, listen, man, stay in touch.
Definitely.
You need anything, brother, anything at all, personal, professional, whatever, advice, whatever. Just maybe call and check in on me.
Yeah, definitely, man.
Right.
And I really appreciate you guys, man. This means a lot to me. I've never done a live anything except for my own Facebook lives.
Yeah.
So, hopefully I didn't screw the show up too bad. I know y'all have.
Absolutely not, man. Absolutely not. We're hoping to have you on, buddy.
Dude,
sure.
we still have 15 people watching, man. I kind of feel bad getting off.
I know, right? Ken, are you going to RoofCon this year?
Yeah, me and my girl was just talking about that going so we can meet Tebow and see a lot of people that, this is kind of sudden that I'm getting out. I thought I was going to be at roofing.com, for a while, and just another opportunity came up. So I really thought I'd be back at the next one. I've been looking forward to it. I told a lot of people from around the country, hey man, I'll see you next year. And so, I'm looking forward to going. So we're going to get our tickets booked up.
Awesome, man. Well, I'm looking forward to shaking your hand there, man, for sure. We'll be down there setting up the studio down there. So
awesome, man. I'll definitely swing through.
Yeah, awesome.
I
Well,
appreciate
Backer family, we appreciate you guys for always watching us. Make sure you guys share this out, and make sure you guys hop on our YouTube page, Behind the Tool Belt, and subscribe to that, please. We got to get the algorithms going up. Thank you guys for sticking through, even through our technical difficulties. Tyrus, it was good seeing your shiny face, man. I miss you, bro. The team misses you. And Ken, thank you for your time, man, and thank you for all the content that you added and the nuggets that you dropped and the realness, man. Above all else, the realness. So we'll catch you guys next week, Wednesday, 7 p.m. for episode 144. Everyone, be safe. Have a good rest of your week.
See you guys.